What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Isaac, aka The Baddest. Today I'm going to be talking about Poppy Playtime. Except for some FNAF fan games, I don't think I've ever gotten more requests to talk about a game than I have with this one. Some people really love this game, some people hate it, and plenty of people are indifferent. I guess I just want to give my opinion on the game and explain what I think it does right and what I think it does wrong. If you want to watch me play Poppy Playtime, I actually played it live on this channel. You can watch the VODs on this channel, or edited down videos on my second channel. Also, if you saw my first playthrough, you know there's something we need to get out of the way. My game soft-locked 2 times while playing. One of my soft-locks was very early on, when my ability to jump stopped working, and I couldn't get out of the starting area. The next one was later on, when you had to make a toy. I pulled the levers, got my stuffed animal, and then I was supposed to place it on this thing, but it wouldn't let me. I have no idea how this happened. I know it's not my computer, because I can play Security Breach at max settings with no lag, and that should say something. Now that I've mentioned the way this game dicked me over for no reason, we can start to discuss the actual game. The first thing I want to say is that I don't really have a problem with this game being unoriginal like other people do. At some point, we just have to accept that there is basically no such thing as an original idea. I only see it as a problem when it's clear that an idea was taken directly from somewhere else on purpose. For example, the Endo section of Security Breach is way too identical to the Endo section in The Joy of Creation for me to ignore it. But Poppy Playtime being a basic puzzle game with a basic idea of making a kid-friendly concept into a horror concept just doesn't really bother me, but I've heard a lot of people make that critique about it. Poppy Playtime does enough to be different for me to get at least some enjoyment out of it. Huggy Wuggy, although I hate their name, is actually a pretty great character design in my opinion. It's a solid idea for a fictional toy that could have been real, and I think it is legitimately scary. The thick and plush lips and the wide eyes are pretty creepy, and the overall size of the character and the lankiness of the arms on the thin, tall body is a pretty good design for the face of a horror game. The chase sequence is genuinely terrifying. I was really not expecting for him to just walk out of the void, and the chase sequence through the events was surprisingly frightening. I had to end the stream. Well, I didn't have to end the stream. I could have restarted again, but I kind of just wanted to get going. So this goes to hell, which is cool. And this is just do not enter. And this is... Fuck! I'm so sorry. That definitely blew out the mic. And as a lot of people mentioned, the OST of this game is also pretty nice. The ambient music is fairly unsettling, and I actually think it fits this game's aesthetic really well. It's not so quiet and calm that it's useless, and it contributes to the anxious feeling that some may feel given that this is a horror game. As a horror game, I think Poppy Playtime's shining moments shine extremely bright. The problem with its horror is that the gameplay doesn't connect to it. What I mean is, the gameplay of Poppy Playtime is very simplistic and just consists of puzzle games, and there is no threat, no danger, and nothing to be afraid of. It's not like there's a limited amount of time to complete any of your tasks, and Huggy Wuggy isn't present in any of the sequences or puzzles besides the chase sequence. The overall aesthetic of this game is solid, and I think the graphics are great. And once again, its main character has a great design. It just didn't really come all together to make a frightening horror game. There are moments that are creepy, and again, the chase sequence genuinely terrified me, but this game simply doesn't have a lot of scares. Not only does the gameplay not complement the horror, it's also just a little on the mediocre side. Something I do really like is the idea of the hands. I think the puzzles with the wires are pretty cool by themselves. Admittedly, I'm terrible with this stuff, so my dumb brain is probably the only reason I could find it interesting, but I just think these segments are pretty decent puzzles. But those puzzles can only be so engaging, and they're really the only pieces of gameplay that this game has to offer. The first thing you do when you get into the game is use the color pattern of a toy train to open a door with a keypad. That's somewhat cool, but it's a 3-second task, so I can't include that as a quality segment. You get a key and open a door. Once again, this does not count as gameplay. You have to pull on these levers to make a toy. This is not gameplay. The chase sequence is okay, but the horror of it is really the only thing I actually like. It feels a bit luck-based since you don't know where to go, and it's very formulaic, and mostly consists of running until you get it right. There are a few moments where you have to think, like when you have to make sure to crouch to get through a small opening, or when you have to use the box at the end of the chase sequence to stop Huggy Wuggy. But honestly, I'm okay with this one not being so great gameplay-wise because it's still the scariest moment of the game, and I do think it's really cool. But the gameplay overall is just a bit of a problem in this game. It's just, again, the wires with the hands are the only things that I could define as gameplay, except for the chase sequence, which again, doesn't have all that much challenge to it, but it is scary, so I do like that sequence. But yeah, gameplay is lacking in Poppy Playtime for sure. There does also seem to be some lore to this game, and that's kind of expected, but to be totally straight up, I just don't really care about it. Maybe if Chapter 2 is really good, I'll get more into it, but I just don't have the brain space for more indie horror game lore. What I don't quite understand is why this game is as hated as it is. Some people just don't like it, and that's fine, but a lot of people seem to think Poppy Playtime is a worthless waste of a game, but I actually have pretty high hopes for the future of the game. Yeah, the developers got involved in some NFT garbage, but I'm not going to let that taint the actual game for myself. And I should mention that there have been some accusations of the developers harassing another developer that claimed they stole their game idea, but again, only talking about the game, it's really not that bad. What Chapter 2 needs to do, in my opinion, is utilize the character, Huggy Wuggy, more, and the mechanics of the hands more. I think those are the two elements of this game that I like the most, and I think it has the most potential. If the developers could expand on the idea of the hands and make them a more versatile game mechanic, it could be a fun and unique game. And I truly love Huggy Wuggy's design. It looks so cool, and the chase sequence is the best part of this game by far. Poppy Playtime isn't great. I definitely didn't have that much fun with it. But is it worse than the average indie horror game? I don't think so. It's cheap, it's short, it's simple. Just like FNAF, Baldi's Basics, Doki Doki. Yeah, Poppy Playtime isn't as good as any of those, arguably not even close, but for a $5 horror game with a badass mascot, you could do a lot worse than this one. That's all I have to say about Poppy Playtime. I think this game has plenty of potential, and I seemingly enjoyed this game more than a lot of other people, but it does have a lot of problems. It's just not that fun for a video game, and most of it feels pretty tedious, but again, I think there's potential for this game. Let me know what you guys think of this game. I'm curious to see what people will think, especially because of how many asked me for my opinion. Subscribe to my second channel once again for some extra content, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at I'mTheBaddest to keep up with what I'm working on. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I will see you guys next time.